Hello, I am Ben Maxwell, and this is my paper on progressive and emergent gameplay, play paper. A game that has a lot of progressive play is a game called Dishonored. In this game, you play a character named Corvo, a man who has lost his honor. The level design is made to be open, but in closed maps. You can play in any part of the map, but once you get to a certain part of the story, you can't go back. So after you complete a mission, there's no going back to previous missions. I found this game very progressive in the sense that you can only go where the developer wants you to go. So as you have side quests and other options, at the end of the day, you're still heading in a straight path. There may be side roads, but they all lead to the same destination. The reason the game is like this, I believe, is because the developers of the game want the players to make meaningful choices and have to live with that and can't go back and change the way they've done something without restarting the whole game. The game itself could work in an emergent kind of sense, but you would have to remove a lot of what makes this game great, like the mission, very heavy story. You'd have to make it almost open world to make it work, and I don't think it would be as fun. So you could do it, but I don't think it would be better in any way. So what is griefing? Griefing is when one or multiple people try to ruin another player's game experience. Griefing is usually considered a bad thing among most players. A player who is being griefed often will quit the game or start joining in on the griefing to get some sort of revenge. This can really hurt gaming communities and the game as a whole. If everyone's goal is to simply annoy the other person, then that's a game, but it isn't the game the developer intended. As far as community goes and how griefing affects it, when one person griefs a community, a lot of the time the community can manage it and single out the griefer and move on. But when the griefer has all the power and the community gives into that, a lot of the time a community can be corrupted or manipulated in a way to make the overall game experience less enjoyable for everyone. How does griefing affect the developers? Well, a developer of a game wants a healthy and a large community. They want all their players having a good time and keep supporting them with money and in-game transactions and whatnot. So as a community starts to become more about griefing than the game, they can't really help in a way anymore. They're stuck basically watching their game be turned into a joke. And I feel like that really can hurt a developer, and I feel like it's not good for their income. I feel like less people would play the game due to the griefing, so the developer would make less. And overall, I think it's just an awful experience to see your game be turned into something negative. From the eyes of the griefer, I'm sure it seems harmless. What's the big deal about one guy being a jerk to a couple others for a few laughs? Well, I think in some sense, things that seem harmless can really damage the community as a whole, as I've stated before. And if you're griefing your friends and you're just joking around, and everyone understands that, that's different, I think. I don't even consider that griefing. That's just having fun. But to me, griefing is really just making someone else's day awful and you taking pleasure out of it. And even if it doesn't affect the industry as much as I think it does, it's still not right. So I don't think griefing is a great thing to have in the community or the game industry, but it will always be there. So when a designer makes a game, one of the things they need to look out for is players and emergent gameplay. When emergent gameplay arises, when players do stuff the developer does not intend for, I think there's lots of ways the developer can react. For instance, if the developer wants this aspect of the game, he can leave it or even include it in some way in his larger title. But as far as something, say, that breaks the story or it ruins what his idea of the character would be like, I feel like they might patch that or fix it, even though it might harm the overall community. I think as a developer you need to balance that between changing what a player has found or including something that might make the game less thematic but more enjoyable. As a game developer, I believe when a player finds something emergent in a game, when they find a new game within your game, you need to almost cater that in some ways. Unless it's breaking your game, like I stated earlier, it is something that you as a developer, I think, almost have a responsibility to let that exist and let people experience your game in the way they want to. Because at the end of the day, you are a creator of something and they're the customer. So if they enjoy it, you probably shouldn't be messing with it. So thank you guys for watching. My name again is Benjamin Maxwell, and I hope you enjoyed my assignment. Thank you.